right now, going to take you inside the film room. Really a place not many fans get to see. You hear players talk about what they look for and look at when they break down film. Well, Peter Gammon sat down with Adrian Gonzalez and learned exactly what Gonzalez looks at, as he began by talking about his approach against Dan Herron.
I look to see what he's doing lately. I like to see what his tendencies are lately. You know, Dan Herron's a guy that I have faced quite a bit throughout my career. So I know what he does. I know what his pitches look like. But there might be something. I know earlier in my career he loved the first pitch, second at bat, first pitch, get me over curveball. Just throw it in there for a strike. If it's a ball, he'd repeat it to get to 1-1. Now he's going more to the cutter. Last year and this year, he started throwing that cutter a lot more. You go through watching his last couple outings against all left-handed hitters and get an idea of what he's doing. That's the first thing. That takes about 10 to 15 minutes just to watch, see what his tendencies are, you know, how he approaches hitters. You know, he wants to work the count. He's always going to be in that 3-2, 2-2 count range. He's really good at that, and you know, that's what makes him successful. So, you know, 3-2 cutter there. No, you know, if I do focus on nobody on base, first inning, 1 out, 3-2 cutter. You know, that means that if I get to 3-2 situation, he's not scared to go to his cutter or go to his other pitches. Another thing I go into is how they pitch in. Are they pitching in for strikes, or are they pitching in to brush you off? You know, that's a cutter, that's a ball. Are there more chase pitches, up and in pitches to get you off the zone, or are they actually throwing it to run it back to be a strike? That helps me decide on, should I even worry about it? My game plan every day is not to even think in, look away, react in. But if it's a pitcher that I know he will throw in for a strike, then I got to think in at least with 2 strikes. You know, I got to be conscious of him either running it back or throwing a 4-seamer in there, or even a curveball or a cutter in there. Well, another thing that I do look at before we go on here is runners in scoring position. You go into runner in scoring position, how he pitches pitchers, you know, how he pitches, attacks hitters, runners in scoring position. And, you know, it's one of those things that you just focus on. A lot of pitchers will pitch a guy one way with nobody on and a different way with people on base.
Chance now for Adrian Gonzalez. The Red Sox trailing 1-0, tying run in scoring position.
So when you faced him with Ellsbury on second base, did you have a pretty good idea what he would try to do?
Yeah, I mean, you know, in that situation, runner on second, 2 outs, he's not going to give in. He's got first base open. You know, that's going into that bat, you know, he's got first base open. He's been pretty good. You know, he struck me out on the pitch inside. First at bat, second at bat, he pretty much pounded me in. So I'm thinking, you know, he's either going to go cutters, fastballs in, splits away. In my mind, you know, he's really good about commanding in for chase. He'll only throw for a strike if he needs it with 2 strikes. He's going to go cutters and all that stuff in. I don't want to swing at that. So going into that at bat, I said if I get a split out over the plate early in the count, I'm going to be ready for it.
And Gonzalez into left field, a base hit. Vernon Wells coming up throwing. Ellsbury's going to try and score. The throw is not in time, and the game is tied.
Luckily for me, he threw it first pitch. And so going into that at bat, focusing on getting something away and making sure I stayed back and threw it, you know, I was able to hit. He threw it a lot harder than he normally does, which was, again, you know, something that I think he was just trying to get ahead with it rather than bury it. And it worked out in my favor again. You know, it was a good pitch right there. You can start seeing the thing down. But because I wasn't going to chase anything in until he forced me to in that at bat, I was just focused on the way.
Little split finger, he stays back and just drives this ball into left field. This looks like just what a swing. What a beautiful swing by Gonzalez.
That's like the classic RBI situation, isn't it?
Yeah.
You're just trying to get the run in.
Yeah, I'm not trying to drive the ball. I'm not trying to hit a double or a homer or anything. I'm just trying to get a pitch out over the plate that I can stay through and just hit it on the barrel. You know, there's no, you know, even my stance, I opened it up a little bit more than I normally do. If you see, you know, how wide I am there compared to how wide I am here, you know, it's narrower. You know, because I was here, it's more of my, you know, get loaded, get it going, drive it with nobody on base. Where there, you know, I get into more of a wider, just put the ball in play mentality. My last at bat, the crowd was still singing Sweet Home Caroline, so I couldn't swing, so I just fake bunt just for, you know, just to let them finish their song. He had been pounding me, and I said, this is the time, we got the lead, this is the time to take a shot at the ball in. You know, hopefully it's a cutter that stays for a strike. Never thought it would be a fastball, but, you know, I'm looking in, because again, away is not an option because of, you know, the way he's been pitching.
Gonzalez hits a high fly ball to deep right. Hunter going back at the wall. It is gone into the bullpen.
And he just happened to throw a fastball in a spot where I was looking for that pitch. The first pitch was a cutter in, the one I fake bunted on. He threw it for a strike, so you know, that would have been the pitch that, you know, I would have swung at probably if the crowd still wasn't swinging, but or singing. But you know, it's one of those things that it worked out.
And he finally jumps on a fastball off of Herron and absolutely crushes this ball.
Now, do you ever use a video? Are there any things you like to study in catchers?
Yeah. You know, catchers is more of a mental approach, but I do focus on what the catcher, who the catcher is. You know that rule of thumb. If it's a catcher that is Latin, he will pitch backwards a lot more than the American catcher. It's just funny that way. He will throw a lot more change-ups. He will ask for a lot more, you know, fastball and 2-strike counts up in the zone. Try to freeze you with some pitches. An American catcher is more aggressive, wants to get ahead of the count, wants to do certain things. So you focus on those things, and you use your experience against each catcher from when you've been hitting and he's been behind the plate.